guys, we're back for another Dokkan battle video. So today we're going to go ahead and do the no item challenge with the red zone. We are using the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta team. I wanted to sort of like pair up the release of this video alongside when Global Dokkan is going to be getting the units, right? Now, LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is still like just basically the god of the game, right? Like, in terms of like leader skill, defense, offense, the power generated from the active skill, link set, right? This character is just insane. And being able to use the Fuse fighter team gives you a lot of utility that other teams don't really have. By the way, this first fight against Ledgic is like basically a Monopoly game free pass, right? Like, the Ledgic is just nothing. Like, don't even need to really take this fight serious, right? Like, any decent units can probably take this down. It's just this one boss with this one health bar. Certainly not that difficult, right? But the Fuse fighter team that we're capable of using here gives us many different options for healing mid-battle, which is really helpful for a lot of these difficult stages. But yeah, here was the Ledgic fight. Not really too much to talk about here. Alright, so next we are fighting Lord Luud. Again, this is another not really too tough fight. Just loading up on a lot of STR and AGL units usually does suffice for taking down Luud, right? Because he does have the physical phase followed by the STR phase. He doesn't really have any crazy gimmicks or anything super nuts, right? He's just a strong boss. That's it. But like I was saying before, the Fuse fighter team, you know, we have LR Tech Gogeta, STR Vegito, Tech Tail and Caulifla, the 3rd anniversary fusions, all on the table to bring to any one of these stages for, you know, like mid-battle heals, which is very good. I should also mention that these runs, these are like an assortment of runs that have been recorded throughout basically the last 6 months. I believe the baby win, I think Rilldo and Omega was my first ever no items on those stages during the actual JP 7th anniversary, which are in this video, right? And then some of the other ones I did later on. But like, you know, this team is really powerful. And being able to utilize, you know, like the EZA Super Saiyan 4s and the EZA 3rd anniversary fusions, although they can be weak prior to their fusion, they are very, very powerful typically after they fuse as well. So here's Luud. Again, we pretty much just dust Luud off very fast. There's not too much to talk about with the Lord Luud fight. He's like just a tough boss, but he's not like one of the tougher red zone fights for sure. All right, next we're going up against Rilldo. Now, Rilldo actually is a very tough fight. Again, Rilldo is a really hard fight. There's two things that make this a difficult fight. Number one, when Rilldo super attacks, the entire way through this fight, he is lowering your defense. And he does this with every super attack he does in all 3 phases. Defense lowering can be very rough when, especially we're fighting bosses that are, you know, essentially like stronger than us, right? Like when Namek, Goku, and Full Power Frieza came out, they were so crazy because they were like stronger than like all the bosses they could fight, basically. They just disintegrate them. But like Rilldo, you know, once we get to that final phase and, you know, he like defensive debuffs us and super attacks us, even really powerful units like LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and some of these other characters could potentially take a lot of damage, right? Although the 7th anniversary LRs are like right up there as the best units in the game pretty much, they aren't like untouchable gods, right? Like it's like they can be caught, depending upon how the situation goes. Now, this is a fight where I brought Kale and Khalifa. Again, I believe this was my first ever no-item run done on this Rilldo fight right here. Remember that tech Kale and Khalifa can be very valuable in many red zone fights. But turn 1, they are, to call them like god-awful, I feel like does not properly describe how horrible they are. Turn 1, Kale and Khalifa, they are beyond abysmal. Just like really just pathetic. Turn 1, Kale and Khalifa are. But the longer the fight goes on, the better and better they get. You know, really, they are incredible in all 14 stages, I guess you could say, right? Because Kefla relies a lot on dodging, but the 2 fights in the red zone that cancel dodging, which are both in the movie side anyway, they're both AGL in the final phase, where Kefla is tech. So it does make Tech, Kale, and Khalifa a very solid unit in a lot of these stages, right? But at the same time, you just have to play very cautious with them, right? Like, you know, they do stack attack and defense every time they super attack. So it's very important for them to get their supers in often. This was kind of an unfortunate turn. You know, I really despise LR Tech Gogeta's active skill condition. It's just like the worst ever. Because in these tough fights, this is like a common sight right here, right? We're hovering around, what, like 60% HP? And it's like we're not able to transform into Tech Gogeta until we hit 70% HP. But that's why the combo of Kale and Khalifa and Tech Gogeta can be very effective. Because, you know, if they're on the same rotation, turn 6, Kale and Khalifa fuse, they full heal us, basically. And then Tech Gogeta will be able to fuse, and then we get the Scouter, right? No matter what, you could say whatever you want to about STR Vegito and Tech Gogeta, but when they fuse and give you that Scouter, it becomes much, much easier to get shit done, right? The Scouters are just so powerful. And I haven't mentioned it too, but Rilldo does lock in the final phase, right? So, but you want to be careful about bringing EGL units into this fight right here, because Rilldo can lock in his final phase, and AGL units can get disintegrated if you're not careful. But here we go. Here was the Rilldo fight. Alright, so next we're going up against Baby. Now, I believe this actually was my first ever no-item run against Baby. Remember that once upon a time, Baby was the toughest fight in the game. Very soon on Global Dokkan, this is going to be the hardest stage in the game. This Baby fight is actually really quite tough. Now, this was recorded during the 7th anniversary, before LR Physical Gogeta got his EZA. So I want you guys to keep that in mind, that this is pre-EZA LR Physical Gogeta. And the unit still performs decently in this run. Baby is really hard. We'll go over a lot of the reasons why, but they made it not the worst ever to go through him because his last 2 phases in a row are both int. So we could bring physical characters and we can demolish Baby with these physical characters, right? It could be very, very helpful bringing them along. And then the other thing is, you know, we have 2 consecutive phases where Baby is int, but Baby also does not have an STR phase to counter all the physical units you would want to bring. So it just makes, like, that, because of that, like, you can load up on basically, like, a full physical team, and, you know, it's just sort of, like, make it through the first 2 phases, and you're probably going to be good. Now, keep in mind that Baby right here is very, very devastating. Like, his damage, right here, Super Baby 1 does a lot of damage. He hits very hard. I believe in this part, someone gets super attacked right here and takes just an excessive amount of damage. I think it might be the 7th anniversary LRs, right? The reason it's, you know, it's kind of going back and forth between, like, the father-son Gallop Gun, Vegeta, and Trunks, and then, like, the 7th anniversary LRs is because, like, there's situations where the 7th anniversary LRs can get absolutely blown up, and that's, like, almost non-existent for Vegeta and Trunks, which really, I think helps that unit out, right? Because you guys know, defense ages better than offense in this game. I feel like defensive value is way better than offensive value. Most units in the game at this point, they're able to do decent damage in any given turn. Many new top 2 characters have built-in additionals or built-in crits, so the damage oftentimes can really rack up. So it's like that extra defensive ability is typically what I'm looking for. That's what's going to separate the really crazy units. The 7th anniversary LRs, the big thing with them, though, is that, like, you know, they pop out, like, their active skill turn, and, like, you know, you get that huge, you know, oftentimes 10 million damage attack in, and then they're also, you know, able to stack, you know, to raise that damage, and then they get guaranteed crits on the turn, and things get really nasty. But, like, here, you know, they get slapped. That's 400k damage they eat. They've stacked, what, like 4 times already? Is that 4 stacks that they've done? It's a lot. So it's like that's tough. Like, we take a lot of damage right there, but the overall strength of the team, we are able to hold in a while. Dude, yeah, GT Goku. Again, this is my first sort of, like, no-item run in this stage. Like, nowadays, I would not run GT Goku. Like, probably not. In this stage, though, you know, he does have the type advantage, right, against the multiple forms of Baby. So it's like, he can be solid, but he can take a lot of, as you guys can see, he can take a lot of damage, even with GT Hero units on rotation with him. SCR Vegeta obviously is not a GT Hero, but, you know, we did have LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta on that rotation, and he still took a lot of damage. But, you know, just, again, sort of the sheer power of a lot of these characters on the team, you know, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, like the LR gods and stuff like that, were, you know, able to make things go really well. Now, I think my thinking here, or the reason I decide to pop these active skills now, again, this is one thing talking about, is you're not always able to just be like, all right, we're just going to stack for the first 10 fights. It doesn't always work that way, right? This 3rd anniversary Gogeta is probably not going to be able to take these hits. I need to make sure to keep this physical Gogeta, I think, on rotation for turn 6 so they can fuse and give us the reset we need. But I'm in a really tricky spot here where it looks like we're going to have to put the gods in slot 1, hope that they can finish things off, and then potentially try and leave physical 3rd anniversary Gogeta in slot 2 because we want them on rotation when it comes time for their fusion to potentially happen. So we're going to float LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta off right here. But, you know, just kind of like playing a chess game with Baby through the whole way through. We're able to make it through. Remember that the final phase of Baby, Grade 8 Baby, is capable of stunning us, and he has his AoE normal attacks as well. That's the thing with like STR Vegeta right here, is that once we fuse with them, he is taking hundreds of thousands of damage per hit. Like we have to play very cautiously and carefully with how we utilize STR Vegeta. See, like we did this, we got the Scouter, and we lost basically. If I would fuse, the only way we could like potentially not die right there is if we don't. I sort of undo the fusion right there, since Baby decided to super attack that last slot. But we, eventually make it through Baby using all of our active skills, all these powerful units. Let's move on to the next fight, which I believe is Super 17. Alright guys, now we are going to fight Super 17. Now, Super 17 can be a pretty tough fight because, you know, there's two phases against the two 17s right here. And then there's the phase against the one Super 17, right? Super 17's got one health bar, but he is STR, which counters our best character, LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. The other reason Super 17 can be a bit tricky with the 7th anniversary LR teams is because Super 17 absorbs Ki Blast supers. Now, that's not an issue for any of the 7th LR units' super attacks. None of them are Ki Blasts, right? 12 and 18 Ki for Gods, you know, pre and post transformation. And then same thing with the Super Saiyan 4s, pre and post transformation. None of them are just Ki Blasts. But the Anniversary LR's Ki Blast attacks are their active skills. Same with LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku right here. So what happens is we would actually heal Super 17 with our active skills. I think that they're potentially, because they did fix the overflow glitch where if like Super 17 has full health, you super attack him with a Ki Blast and he'll overflow his health. That is gone. So I think you could, you know, use their, like if he's at full health, you could pop, say, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's active skill. You'll heal him, but it won't matter because he's at full health. But then that will still give you the guaranteed crits for the full turn. So the active skills are not 100% useless, but for the most part, you want to shy away from using them, which does cut a huge portion of the utility of the 7th anniversary LRs. Those active skills are so crazy. And, you know, they're conditioned, either you under 50% HP or the enemy under 50% HP means you've always got it pretty much when you need it. So good, right? And this guy kind of locks that down. The exact same type of active skill, the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, the LR Gods, LR Vegeta and Trunks, and LR Goku and Gohan, all of these characters have that same type of active skill, where you get the guaranteed crits for the turn. These characters are all able to super attack 3 times per turn as well, right? And it just, you rack up so much damage, it's silly, right? But against Super 17, right, again, those do not work. Now, there's some characters we could bust out for this fight. Yeah, again, there's another example of the 7th anniversary LRs getting touched, right, in a way where Vegeta and Trunks would not, potentially. But AGL Super Vegito and AGL Super 17 are, you know, able to be used here. Now, I feel like Super 17 is a great example of a character that, like, someone who doesn't know any better would look at him on the team and go, "What are you thinking? Your team building is so bad." But Super 17 works rather well with some of these, like, GT Hero Super Saiyan 4 characters, right? Like, he's able to share quite a few links. You know, Fierce Battle, Shocking Speed, GT, right? Like, we're able to get a bunch of these activated with any of these given characters. And then Super 17 does become very strong defensively after he's gotten all of his hits in, right? But basically, our strong characters are just too strong for Super 17 at this point. Look at, dude, 9 million super effective against all types right there. Whew! That's silly. That's no support. 9 million super effective against all types, right? Just with their best linking partner, but still, very impressive. Very impressive with the guaranteed additional super effective against all types, all that. But you guys can see Super 17's health bar is just disintegrating. We get here, and we're able to transform into Tech Gogeta, so that's a dub secured. guys, so now we're moving on to the next fight here. This is the Shadow Dragons. This is the longest red zone fight, right? There is 6 phases and 6 different enemies that we do have to fight here. But, you know, with the LR Super Saiyan 4's team, we're able to just bring very, very powerful characters. And in a very long fight like this really works very well for, like, Tech, Kale, and Caulifla. This is exactly their type of fight, right? So, like, you know, these early Shadow Dragons are not, like, so powerful to where, like, Kale and Caulifla, you know, are like, oh my god, like, we lost because of them. I mean, we certainly, you know, if they get super attacked turn 1 from Hayes Shenron right here, we probably do lose, right? But, you know, they're able to build up because the fight is so long. And because of the, like, again, how long this fight is and how we potentially are able to build up with them, and, you know, then having Tech Gogeta's Scouter potentially too, this fight is just not scary, really. You know, we have characters like, you know, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, the LR Gods, who are stacking as well. This is a fight. Many of the red zone fights, you don't have the luxury of just like, all right, we're taking 10 turns to stack before we transform. This is a fight, though, where oftentimes I don't ever feel pressure to transform until we get to the 4th fight. Naturon Shenron, the int one that can seal you, he can be a bit scary at times. That typically is where I start to feel the need to transform, right? But until we get to there, it's usually not that tough in here. This guy nullifies Ki Blast super attacks, but he does not absorb them like Super 17, so not really as scary. When we get to, remember, Nova Shenron is the hardest dragon of the 6. Even though he's phase 5, with Ice being the final phase, phase 6, Nova does the most damage. Nova's STR, which is also bad, because, you know, our best unit is physical. But LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is just different, right? Like, you know, he could either counter the super attack or probably live. Like, you know, this is the type of fight where we could stack up a lot. And then, you know, we stack up a huge amount, and then LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta massively raises his defense on his 18 key, and then he's, you know, greatly raising it on his 12 key, right? And he could probably survive Nova Shenron's super attack, despite the fact that Nova can do over 1 million damage with his super, right? And then the 6th phase sometimes can be a bit tricky as well, because remember, phase 6, unfortunately, Ice Shenron is able to lock. But the thing is that Ice is a physical type unit, and we're not running any int characters on the team, right? Like, we're running, like, LR Super Saiyan 4s and, you know, Tech Gogeta and Tech Kale and Caulifla, so we don't have to worry. Like, the lock can be frustrating, but, like, Kale and Caulifla / Kefla by that point probably would be able to live, right? Remember, Kefla can dodge, which helps out a lot in every fight except for Broly in 13, but in those fights against, she's got type advantage anyway. And, you know, we have all these other characters that can sort of handle stuff. So this Shadow Dragon run, no 200% team, I think, would really struggle too badly with this run. Just the way this stage is set up. At Majin Vegeta's team, Raditz's team, right, as long as Raditz doesn't get caught by Nova's super attack, right? Like, this is not like one of the highest difficulty red zone stages. It's tough, for sure. Tougher than, you know, all the other content outside of the red zone, but this is not on the level of, like, you know, Broly and Omega and Bojack and stuff like that. Like, no way, right? So we just continue to clown on the Shadow Dragons, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the final fight. So now we are going up against Omega Shenron. I believe this was actually my first ever no-item run against Omega Shenron right here. Now, Omega's a very, very difficult fight. Oh yeah, this is... No, I think Gogeta has his fusion right here. At this point, that 3rd year anniversary Gogeta had his EZA. So, or yeah, he's got his EZA for this one. This is not pre-EZA the 3rd anniversary Gogeta, right? So this fight is very tough. The first phase of Omega, he can lock, he can seal, you know, he can debuff and stuff like that, right? So, you know, we do have to sort of worry about those things. But the real danger with this fight, once we get to the final phase, we're probably going to be okay. The reason I say that is because, you know, LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is essentially designed for this fight, right? Like, we could put him in that final slot, and we could either, A, nullify Omega's super attack. Oftentimes, I have seen Omega only do one attack at the end, so it's very feasible we could nullify it with Gogeta's 18 key. Or, remember, Gogeta could counter it. And Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, he is able to just straight up tank Omega's super attack too, depending upon how many stacks we got in and stuff like that. The thing is, this is another one of these fights where, with the 7th anniversary LRs, we have to transform as soon as possible. Because STR Sin is so strong. He is so scary. That we have to, like, have, you know, the gods dodging Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's super attack counter and damage reduction from Rainbow Orbs. We need all that, like, available to us against STR Sin. He's just way too tough, right? We also have both of the 3rd anniversary LRs on the team here, which is good, right? Because then that means that we potentially could get a very nice bunch of heals in here. I should talk about Weirus as well. So as you guys can see, we have Weirus on the team. Weirus is actually a pretty effective unit, especially when we could run him in a stage where he's got type advantage. We got insanely lucky with this turn right here that Weirus is not going to be getting hit at all, right? So we're basically able to completely bypass it. Now, you know, this first turn, it's like, just pray that Sin does not super attack the gods, and then we should be okay. I am usually very confident in the 7th anniversary LRs. Once they get their super attacks off, usually we don't really have anything to worry about, right? Like, LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta has type disadvantage right here, but it doesn't matter. I mean, a super attack probably would kill us. Maybe not if Gogeta triple supers. I mean, dude, memory super effective. Like, look at this, right? Like, the thing about these teams when you have all these LRs on here is we could just tear through these phases so fast, right? Like, they are just, like, different once they get going. I think I was really, really, like, trying to make it like a big point I was trying to accomplish doing this run too, by the way, was to not utilize the active skills for the 7th anniversary LRs until I reached the final phase. Because I just wanted to try and blitz the final phase of Omega as fast as possible, so I did not have to deal with his BS with his big-time super attack, and we pretty much are able to accomplish that, right? We're going to be able to get fusions to heal us up and stuff like that. Remember that Vegeto, after fusing, is definitely capable of tanking this Omega Shenron in here. Ooh, actually, do I use these? I have to use at least one, I think. Yeah, there's no way. See, there's no way. If there's not a bunch of Rainbow Orbs, right, for the gods to get dodge or Gogeta to get damage reduction, like, it's like, I'm not risking that. Sin supers in slot 1 and we lose instantly, right? Like, that's how that goes, so. But these active skills are still so busted, right? So, let me know what you guys think of the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta team. Clearing and sweeping the entire red zone without items. Obviously, LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, I mean, he's just silly, ridiculous, redonkulous, busted. Weirus has dodge, by the way, and he also does have support. So remember, Weirus is supporting LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta on this turn, so. Let me know what you guys think of the run and all these characters. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I will catch y'all next time.